2 years. No sunlight, no chance to step outside, and the hardest part was that Tessa wasn't a prisoner. She was a goat caught in a legal case she had nothing to do with. When the final door finally opened, Tessa was brought to her new home. But by then, her body was already old and worn down. Her legs hurt, one of her hooves was badly deformed, and she had almost completely lost her trust in people. I could only wonder, after everything she had been through, did Tessa even remember what a peaceful life felt like? Tessa came from a place where no animal should ever have had to live. Her former owner was keeping far too many goats without properly caring for them. They didn't have enough food or proper shelter, and they had to endure the freezing Connecticut winters in a barn that was falling apart. Some winters, Tessa was left outside, exposed to the snow and bitter cold. Then law enforcement stepped in and removed the goats. We thought this would finally be the moment Tessa was free, but her former owner decided to fight the seizure in court. So instead of going somewhere safe, the goats had to remain at a state facility while the legal case dragged on. It sounds almost impossible to believe, but that place was essentially a human prison. Tessa spent 2 years there. 2 years without running through a field, 2 years without seeing natural sunlight, 2 years living in a restricted space while strangers decided what would happen to her. I don't know if an animal can understand why it is being confined, but I can only imagine how frightening and confusing those years must have been for her. Eventually, the case was resolved and the state was finally able to place the goats with sanctuaries. That's when Tessa came to us. The moment I saw her, I knew there was a lot of work ahead. "Hi, sweet girl. It's okay. You're safe now." Tessa just stood there, completely on edge. Her body told a story she could never put into words. Tessa had severe arthritis, a heart condition, and one hoof that had been neglected for so long that it had grown out at a strange angle, making it extremely difficult for her to walk. So, rescuing Tessa wasn't just about getting her out of the place she came from. We had to help her learn how to live again. Tessa needed softer food, regular hoof care, and daily support to manage her pain. She also received cold laser treatments to help with her arthritis. But we quickly realized there was something much harder to heal than the pain in her body, her fear of people. During those first few days, Tessa was incredibly nervous. I would often speak softly to her. "Tessa, it's me. Nobody's going to hurt you." She would simply look at me without coming any closer. But despite everything people had done to her, Tessa was still such a gentle goat. I just needed to give her time to understand that things were different now. When we introduced her to the other goats, another problem appeared. Goats have a very clear social hierarchy. Some will fight for their position, but Tessa didn't want to fight anyone. She quickly became the lowest ranking goat in the herd. The stronger goats could push her away from the food or headbutt her, and with her painful legs, Tessa could barely defend herself. I watched her and thought, this little girl has been through enough. So we decided to create a separate barn for Tessa and the other special needs goats. Everything there was gentler. Nobody pushed her away from the food. Nobody forced her to fight for her place. For the first time, Tessa had somewhere she didn't have to be strong just to survive.
She says, "Give me my cookies, please." She says, "Give me my cookies, please." please.
Then something very small started to change everything. Tessa learned her name. Tessa! Every time she heard it, her ears would perk up and turn toward me. It was such a tiny reaction, but to us, it meant so much. It almost felt like she was saying, "I know you." I don't know exactly when she started trusting me. Maybe it was after the hundreds of times I brought her food. Maybe it happened during all those gentle moments when I cared for her painful feet. Or maybe Tessa simply realized that whenever I showed up, nothing bad was going to happen. I would often tell her, "I love you, Tess." Sometimes she would just stand quietly beside me. There was no dramatic moment when everything suddenly changed. But for a goat who had spent 2 years confined, being able to stand next to a person without fear was already something incredibly precious. Tessa wasn't the only animal here either. At first, my husband and I had only rescued 2 goats as pets. We never imagined we would start a sanctuary. But 7 years later, this place had become home to 54 animals. The goats are smart, mischievous, and sometimes so clever that they can even figure out how to open the latches on their own. But among all those animals, Tessa will always have a special place in my heart because she didn't just need to be rescued once. She needed someone who was willing to stay by her side every day until she finally understood that her life had truly changed. I still remember Tessa when she first arrived, an elderly goat who was weak, in pain, frightened, and unsure who she could trust. Today, all I have to do is call her name. Tessa. Her ears perk up, and somehow, I know I've finally received the answer I had been waiting for. I can't give Tessa back the 2 years she lost, but I can make sure that the years she has left are nothing like the ones that came before.